Hello everyone and welcome back to Silicon Sounds, audio for the rest of us. Quick announcement, side announcement, there will be some upgrades in the next couple of weeks with respect to the sound and particular audio. I know I've been getting a lot of comments, both supportive and some negative, about the audio quality of my YouTube videos. I've taken it to heart and will be upgrading soon. That being said, it is my pleasure to review today the Kiwi Ears Aether. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'd like to title this review as the musical Anti-Planar Planar. Anyone who follows the IM space is familiar with Kiwi Ears. They've been around a while and quite possibly has either heard some of their products or owns at least one of their iems. Over the years, they have produced many products, some of which are quite notable, including the Orchestra Lite, KE4, and others. The Aether comes to the table, though, with an interesting drive configuration. It has a single large 15.3 millimeter planar driver complement per shell. Planar drivers have been used in IMs for some time now, and to be quite honest, the first few generations of products using this tech did not inspire me at all. It seems that more often than not, these products were tuned to highlight the technical over the musical. In my humble opinion, music has to sound like music, not like a crudely constructed stream of bits and bytes. I just feel that things have moved on. Yes, before everybody jumps in the comments, there are some examples of planar-based IEMs in the last couple of years that actually have sounded quite good. But more often than not, this was not the case. Thankfully, the Kiwi Ears Aether does not suffer from these past failings and delivers on the Planar Promise in an interesting way of being quite musical while still displaying some nice technical capabilities. I would say that Kiwi Ears has done an admirable job of tuning the Aether and its new 15.3 millimeter planar driver with great skill. The Aether is moderately easy to drive, particularly for a planar equipped IEM. That being said, it definitely does benefit from a more capable source to get the best sound. I recommend a warmer source if possible. I did use wideboard short stem tips for my listening, which synergized very well. Some may have to tip roll though to get the perfect fit and seal. As you can see, the Aether is not a small IEM, and some may have, the tip is pronounced but quite close to the body. I would say maybe tip rolling definitely for those with smaller ears would be the name of the game. Maybe downsize your tip. Let's say if you used to use large, go down to medium to get that nice, comfortable fit. Now, how does it sound? Let's go on. But first, specs. Sensitivity, 105 decibels, SPL per milliwatt, sound pressure level per milliwatt, frequency range, 20 to 20 kilohertz, impedance, 14 ohms. The driver, as mentioned before, is a new 15.3 millimeter planar. Earphone jack, as we can see here, in terms of the cable, I should say, is your typical 0.78 millimeter 2-pin connector. Build and fit. It's an attractive IEM. The Kiwi Ears Aether is an attractive IEM in an understated way. And I noticed that Kiwi Ears have seemed to move away from the bling look, more into the understated look. But in my opinion, it's all about the sound. I don't see the earphones when they're in my ears, and I still consider the Aether to be an attractive IEM. Considering the size, they're quite light in weight. They have a little bit of heft to them, but quite light considering the size. Excuse me. Build and fit. Let's continue. The shells are resin, smoothly finished with a patterned cap. It exudes an understated yet elegant presence. There is a lip you can feel where the cap joins the shell, which is kind of campered there. but I believe it's all part of the design. The shells are on the large side, and some may require, again, tip rolling to get the proper size and fit in their ear. The 2-pin cable connectors, if you look closely, have these 3 what seem like venting holes right next to them. There's an additional venting hole on the back side of the shell right here. Hopefully you can see that. It comes through. Build quality is typical Kiwi Ears and is very good. The retail presentation is also a little different from recent Kiwi Ears products I have used. The packaging is a shiny silver color and embossed branding, which carries on to the internal boxes holding the documentation and accessories. The included accessories include 3 sets of tips, a carrying case. Within there is the cable and some documents, and in another sleeve. Let's talk about the included cable for a minute. Now, here is the typical Kiwi Ears case, and inside we have the cable. The included cable has good haptics. It's quite soft to the touch, very flexible, and while being a step above the basic cable included with many competitors' products, and even those costing more, it's good, but not exceptional. I would say it's okay. Single-ended, of course. It's an okay cable, nothing to write home about. Still overall, the retail presentation and the quality of the included items is typical Kiwi Ears, very good. Let's get back to the Aether, the star of the show. The star of the show, bass. Let's talk about the sound, bass. Bass goes deep, tight, well controlled. There is a preference for mid-bass here over sub-bass, but the sub-bass was not found lacking per se. When listening to Angel by Massive Attack, has a deep droning bass line. The bass came through with ample bass energy, but it has been bested by some recent dynamic driver equipped IMs I've listened to in terms of deep bass power and forcefulness. Sub-bass does lack that last measure of roundness and meat heard in the better dynamic driver equipped earphones, yet the low end on the Aether is still satisfied with great speed and snap, which you would expect from a planar equipped IEM. The mid-bass does come through as more forceful than the sub-bass, with again great control and very admirable texturing. The Aether is an interesting beast in the bass, as it tries to bridge the gap between dynamic driver and planar bass presentation. Actually, that can be said of its presentation up and down the frequency range. That's what makes the Aether so interesting. The tuning focus here seems to lean towards clarity and coherence rather than overwhelming force. I guess I would describe the bass as balance with ample power when demanded, which may not please bass heads, but those who prefer musicality will surely find something here to like. Mid-range. The Aether offers a balanced mid-range with a touch of warmth. Clarity is the name of the game here, while also being natural in presentation. There's a mix of both macro and micro details heard, but it leans a little bit towards favoring the macro. Again, this might be slightly unusual for a planar equipped IEM, but let's continue. Vocals are steady in the mix. I would say more immediate than recessed, with male vocals having a denser presentation than female, which, while not being thin, the female vocals are not thin, you do notice the difference. Listening to He's a Karaoke by Eden Atwood relayed the level of clarity of voice that the Aether reproduces, with even small vocal nuances reproduced with great clarity. There is a naturalness to the mid-range that many will find pleasing. Sounds just flow, encouraging the listener to get lost in the music. It also showcased the layering and separation capabilities, which were notable. Technically speaking, planar drivers are quite quick and fast and will aid in this perception. Transients were well done with quick attack, natural fall off. Timbre was also fairly good. But with anything just slightly lacking some note weight, but that's really a personal preference. I do really appreciate and I'm sensitive to note weight. The mid-range on the Aether is open, clean, clear, without any harshness. The pinna gain is kept in very good control, never sounded harsh nor abrasive. So that's another thing that's quite positive about the mids. To summarize the mid-range here, the mid-range is offered by the Aether is natural sounding, open, clean, and expressive. There's lots to like here, and this kind of presentation does lend itself towards long and satisfying listening sessions with your favorite beverage and a stack of your favorite tracks. Well done. Treble. Treble here is where the planar driver and tuning really excel. What Kiwi Ears has done here is retain all the hallmarks and quality of planar drivers, being clarity and open, airy sonics, but they have also gotten rid of any hardness or digital sounding treble that affected many early IMs using this type of driver tech. Treble here sounds open with good quantities of air and sparkle. Here we have a treble with good precision and technicalities, yet sounding natural. No splashing is heard here, just quality playback without any overdone emphasis. Again, that would detract from the quality of the mid-range if it was so, but in terms of the Aether, the treble complements the rest of the frequency range. Imaging and soundstage. Now this is where the Aether really stands out in my opinionated music lover's opinion. The soundstage of the Aether showcases how far planar-based earphones have come. This was the major failing of many of the first generations of planar. With respect to IMs, I'm not talking over ears here, which have had a much longer time in circulation and in development. The planar qualities initially in the past really fell flat on their face when it comes to soundstage and the presentation of a holographic image. Just wasn't happening. IMs already are at a disadvantage in this regard. But the soundstage of the Aether showcases how far the technology and the tuning and the capabilities and the prowess of these companies producing these have come. The soundstage is large with precise instrument placement. Listening to Eden Atwood's release Waves, my ears were often greeted with instruments playing well beyond the confines of my ears. Moving on to 00 by Defaz, I was keenly aware of sense of depth, in particular when focusing on the drum kit. The drum kit sounded like it was floating ahead of me, but not next to me, further away in space. Front to rear separation is impressive for an IM, and the height isn't that far behind. The inherent layering that the Aether possesses is used to good measure here, opening up the soundstage and giving instruments their own space in the mix. Nicely done. I would say that irrespective of IM, this Kiwi Ears Aether with respect to soundstage and imaging is really a hit. I listened to tracks, I popped other IMs in my ear right away, not listening for the sound quality or the sound whatever, but what I was listening for was the soundstage presentation, and the Aether hits hard when it comes to that. Very well done. So, conclusion. Kiwi Ears have done a great job with the Aether. It skirts the thin border between being technical yet musical. This is not an IM that exists just to throw details in your ears as many earlier planar driver-based earphones were. This is an IM tuned for serious musicality. I'll give you a little look at it while we're closing up here. Very nice. Simple, elegant. This is an IM tuned for serious musicality, while still taking advantage of the characteristics and tech behind its driver technology and implementation. This is why I called this review the musical anti-planar planar. This does not sound like the vast majority of planars I've listened to in the IEM space, in the earphone space. it skirts that line between dynamic driver-based earphones and planar-based earphones. Kiwi Ears have tried their best to pull the best characteristics out of both driver technologies and present them using a planar driver. Have they succeeded? To a great extent, I would say they have. Not necessarily so much in the bass, which is still good, but it's not DD bass. But in the mid-range and treble, they have. With respect to soundstage, there's some magic here. Definitely some magic. Make no mistake about it, the Kiwi Ears Aether is a resolving and technically adept IEM. It has one foot firmly planted in the musical camp as well. It is a welcome evolution in planar driver-based earphones, and I must give it a recommendation. Drive it well, drive it with a capable source, enjoy the sound stage and the coherency of sound. The Kiwi Ears Aether is definitely one to recommend. Thank you very much for watching this video. Once again, changes are coming to the YouTube channel with respect to presentation and quality of presentation, video and sound. Bear with me while this happens. I want to thank you very much for watching this review of the Kiwi Ears Aether, the musical anti-planar planar. See you again soon. Remember, subscribe, tell your friends about it, about this site, and see you in the next video.